One of the great college towns in America has seen what it's like to have big-time winning football. Lee Corso has come back. The mayor has declared it Lee Corso Day in Bloomington, Indiana. Kurt Signetti was with us. McAfee's here. You got your running for office, Pat.
It's a great state. I'm not going to call it home.
Just a spectacular morning. The Hoosiers and Washington play at noon. We'll go inside the stadium later on. Now, Florida State and Miami play later today. It's the 69th meeting in the series. You see how close it's been. You know about all of the heartbreaks
the glory here. This game matters. This is awesome. The old days.
Got a little wide right. There are all kinds of wide right, wide left. 32nd meeting with one of them, Calvin, in the AP top 10.
Man, this used to be fun.
Straight. Yeah.
Used to be great.
Every now and then, Florida State came out on the positive side of a special teams play, I guess. And look, the Seminoles have won the last three that followed a four-game Miami win streak. What Florida State is staring at, you know, the only AP preseason top 10 team to lose 7 of their first 8 games. Illinois in 1954, and if Florida State doesn't find a way to pull the upset, they will be 1-7 with only a fortunate victory over Cal. Yeah. Miami has to come in here and realize that Florida State is going to, they've got nothing to lose.
And they do. They really do. But don't forget, this is a huge rivalry. They don't care about the Seminoles' record. They don't care that the Seminoles are struggling and that they look bad on film. They understand when the Seminoles, they see the Canes jerseys, there's going to be like this just fury, this hate, this anger that they feel towards Miami, and that's what they're going to have to compete against. So Miami's not taking Florida State lightly, despite the fact that they're having a horrendous season. They want to go out there and make a statement against the Seminoles because these two teams, these two schools, they absolutely hate each other, Coach.
Yeah, and, you know, I really feel for Florida State, who had great expectations for this season. Things didn't work out that way. They never got the culture established. But, you know, one thing that I always used, which I thought was my greatest tool as a coach when I was trying to establish culture, was the bench. You know, when guys don't do what they're supposed to do or they don't buy in the way they're supposed to, you put them on the bench.
Right.
It's an amazing signal that goes from your butt to your brain when you get put on the bench.
Right.
And things change. And, you know, discipline is really not punishment, but discipline is changing somebody's behavior by taking something that's significant to them away. And everybody wants to play. So when you take playing away, you can change behavior. And that's what Florida State needs to do.
So they're not benching enough guys?
According to their record, Steve, we're going to change some behavior for the Seminoles today and cover the 21.
I just want to thank Florida State because the week they won against Cal, they were on this board, but we're not taking them today. Miami lays their number.
That 21.
No.
Play it last.
Plenty to prove. Haven't beat them in 3 years. The last time Florida State went there, Florida State won 45-3.
As long as Cam Ward's out there, life is good. Life is good.
Well, and on the other side, Norvell's buyout $65 million. So we're going to rebuild again next year. Hopefully, give it another good go.
Think about the fortunes if Florida State had gotten Cam Ward. Just saying. Yeah. ABC, 3:30 Eastern Time. It's homecoming on Saban Field. Alabama and Missouri. Alabama's in the throes of despair, having lost 2 of the last 3. You see what they have in front of them, including trip in a couple of weeks to LSU. Now, this is an elimination game for the college football playoff for all practical purposes for both Alabama and Missouri. But the way they've both been playing, I'm not so sure that shouldn't be the farthest thing from their mind right now, Kirk.
Incredible story last week, right, with Brady Cook. You know, he goes down early in that game, actually goes to the hospital, comes back and scores late to end up leading them to a victory over Auburn. Sounds like he's going to try to go again today. If anybody can do it, it's this kid Brady Cook. Starting back, Noel is out. To me, Alabama, it's not about who they're playing. It's about what's been happening and trying to get better. Too many penalties, turning the football over, too many mental mistakes on defense. So, Pat, they've got to find a way to kind of don't worry about who you're playing. Just get right. Because Milroe looks like old Milroe. They don't have an identity right now on an offense.
I concur, and you got a tough guy coming into play. I mean, this is going to be a tough game for this Alabama team, and this is the first time since 2006 that they've had 2 losses in the SEC before November. And, you know, they lose to Vandy, they lose to Tennessee last week. Sandwich in between was a 2-point win over South Carolina. So you're talking about they could have had 3 straight SEC losses before November even kind of settles in. And I know Kalen DeBoer is going to have to build his own team and his own culture and his own roster, but Missouri, very good. Brady Cook goes to the hospital, comes back, plays in the same game. He's going in there with a point to prove. Alabama loses another one. They're going to be, I mean, it's going to be insane down there in Alabama, and it's all because the standard down there is you win. These are the games you win. October, you don't lose, and that's because they had to go for so long.
Yeah, but Kalen did something this week which I thought was interesting. TNT, takes no talent. You know, all these things that have been going wrong really are not talent-oriented. They're mental errors, they're snap count, all these different things. And I think the number one thing Alabama has to do is not worry about winning. They have to worry about getting back to playing to a standard. Because I think if they play to a standard with the talent they have, they'll be able to come out on top. There's so much pressure at Alabama to win every game. Sometimes that affects the players. They get anxious. They're worried about outcomes instead of focusing on what's in front of them and playing one play at a time, and that's what they need to get back to.
That's what you used to always talk process. It's amazing. He never had signs up that said win games, win national championships. None of that, right?
It's right now, today.
About just getting execution and following that process.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That could be.
Yeah, I mean, the transition, especially one like this, never going to be smooth. It's going to take a little time to go. But what a season it's been. We're here at Indiana. Vanderbilt has marquee games. Construction coming along nicely. The last time the Doors faced the team the week after they played Georgia, Vanderbilt beat Alabama. And no one in the history of ball has ever believed in Vanderbilt more than Clark Lee. He grew up going to Vanderbilt games. He gave up his own baseball career at 2 different schools to go walk on and play football at Vanderbilt. When he got the job, they were coming off a winless season. He then had a 10-game losing streak last year, and of all places, found answers at New Mexico State. Now, Lee has the Doors 1 step away from a bowl and also 60 minutes away from the Vandy fever dream of beating Alabama and Texas in the same season.
You had the opportunity to make the biggest of statements this Saturday about what we're here to do. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's a statement about what we are here to do this Saturday in our stadium. And it's going to be an emotional, ass-kicking, fun, exciting environment. And today it's just about left foot and right foot. What is the next thing I need to do? What is my attitude right now? What's my level of attack? To the details that will help me be successful on Saturday.
And maybe they've got a little history working for the Doors, too. Last couple of years under Sark, after a last-second loss to Oklahoma, they nearly blew a 21-point lead against Houston. They got a terrible spot from the officials that didn't give Houston a first down and then got them stopped on 4th and 1 from the 10 in the last minute. Also last year, they were tied with Wyoming the week after they beat Alabama going into the 4th quarter and only scored 10 points. And even the year before that, it was a 4-win Iowa State team, and they slipped out of there with a 3-point win. So sometimes Texas hasn't followed those big physical, emotional games with another high-level performance. When you come off a loss like Texas had against Georgia, what do you say to a team about regrouping?
Well, you know, what I wanted our team to always believe it was what about they did? What did we do? And it was always going to be about what we did. So I would be very technical when showing our team, like, this is why we didn't have success. These are the things that we didn't do. So if we fix those things, we're going to be able to have success. So it was really about what we controlled and what we did. And our players always responded to that. And I was always really positive and technical when we lost, and it always ended up pretty well for us.
Yeah, but I remember weeks like this, you would be out of your mind. That scene last week, Texas game with Georgia, that was like a national championship. You used to play those middle-of-the-year LSU Alabama games. That next week, I bet you were a tyrant no matter who you played, if it was Vandy or somebody you were supposed to kill. That's what Sark's facing this week, because it's been a long time since I've seen a regular season game have that kind of energy. And it's just human nature that next week at Vandy, construction's going on, no matter what the coaches say. it's human nature to let your foot off the gas. And that's the challenge to me, Des, today for Sark, and when you get a team like that, and this isn't old Vandy.
Right.
You know, it's not just Diego Pavia. These guys are going to show up believing they can win.
Absolutely.
Because of what they did against Alabama.
100%.
So this is going to be a psychological game. If Texas shows up, Des, and they're ready to go, they'll be more physical, and they'll run the football, and they'll win. But be careful.
Yeah, no matter how you feel about Alabama now, when Vandy beat them, I think it opened up everybody's eyes to just how good Vandy is as a team. So now they're not going to catch Texas by surprise or anything like that. Looking at Texas, though, I want to see the maturity of this team because, like Kirk said, I mean, that was a big game in Austin a week ago. I mean, they hyped that game up like it was a playoff caliber game, and they fell flat on their face at home in front of their own crowd. Quinn Ewers, reports coming out of Austin, going into the Red River rivalries. He's great. He's 100%. He's letting it rip. Didn't look great against Oklahoma. Looked okay, average at best. And obviously, in the Georgia game, he looked so bad in the first half, they put Arch Manning in to try to get a spark. So moving forward, I really want to watch Quinn Ewers and see where is he, because ever since that injury and he came back, he still hasn't looked like the Quinn Ewers we've seen pre-injury.
I agree with what you're saying there about Quinn Ewers, but the Georgia defensive line just cooked that Texas offensive line.
Wow.
There's 3 fumbles, 7 sacks. Quinn Ewers, Arch
Michael
Manning.
Williams reminded everybody I'm healthy and I'm a bad man.
Like, Quinn Ewers is phenomenal. Arch Manning, we assume, is going to go on and be phenomenal in college football. It's like if that Texas offensive line doesn't show up for them, they're not going to win. Now, Vandy only has 12 sacks on the season. It's not like they're forte, but that was like something that got exposed. And we talked all last week. Welcome to the SEC, Texas. Welcome to the SEC, Texas. They were built for the SEC, they thought, in the trenches. I think their offensive line got a wake-up call in the Southeastern Conference last week.
Well, to me, this is an opportunity for Texas to show they have the heart of a lion. You know, everybody wants to be the beast, but everybody doesn't want to do what the beasts do. And they got an opportunity to do that and show what kind of physical team they can be and respond to, you know, the disappointing loss of Georgia.
27 carries against that defensive line, 29 yards rushing.
I'm telling you.
We could talk about Quinn Ewers all we want.
Yeah.
They got to get Jaden Blue,
But like
Trey
I said, Quinn
Wisner.
is not just that game.
But I'm just saying,
But
guys, today, Trey Wisner, Jaden Blue, and that offensive line.
You know, everybody says that Texas, are you ready for the SEC? Are they ready for Vanderbilt? They never have been. Vanderbilt leads the series 8-3-1. You know, 99 years ago was the last time Texas played in the state of Tennessee. They had this transfer portal guy from Dartmouth who went on to become a brigadier general, muffed a punt, lost the game. Things have gone wrong for the Horns when they've gone into the state of Tennessee. Even brigadier generals can't save them. You've got one more pick before we head inside.
We got to get
here.
this one in. Rivalry game. Kansas has lost 15 in a row to K-State. Oh, brutal comeback last year.
You want to do it.
Jalen Daniels.
You want to do it.
I do want to do it. Yes. Kansas. Jalen Daniels.
Look at you.
Doesn't have an interception this month.
Okay.
Started off as a turnover machine. Kansas.
So one thing Leipold hasn't
They're
done
getting 10
yet.
also.
Okay, that's
leeway.
right. You just need 10.
I don't know if I could call for the outright win.
Okay. You'll take the 10, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 30 to 21 works for you, right?